Thanks, Craig.
Great. What else did I do?
I think we're ready. Um, hmm, that's recording. Craig's here. We're in it. Sound was good. Thanks for joining us. Hello. Good morning. It's currently
Oh, 9:30.
9:39, 10:39 Eastern. I
Different time zones.
honestly forgot my intro. I haven't done it in 2 weeks. Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, owners and fans, or the other way around, fans and owners. I am your host, Johnathan, the Cutoff Man Silva, joined today by three very special guests. We have here my dog Cosmo in the house. He's not going to speak much. He's just going to be sitting here. But joining me here in the state of Texas is Mr. Gunnar Sneed and Mr. Daniel Stewart.
Also not going to talk much, Jonathan.
I'm just gonna wait for Cosmo.
So they've been here for a couple days, and we have recently, last night, watched in person at Globe Life Field at the barn the Texas Rangers play against Bobby Witt's Kansas City Royals. And we're going to kind of talk about the atmosphere. I mean, it's their guys' first time at the stadium. And then we're going to kind of do a little, I guess, fantasy talk if we want to do that. But,
Yes.
but more of like y'all's first impressions on the game, the drive there, traffic, people. I mean, there's a thing there called Texas Live. How do we feel about that?
It was electric, Jonathan.
Electric.
We got there when Peru and Chile were about to play. So, standing room only.
Can you blame them?
Man, it was awesome. Texas Live was, you set it up as B-dubs on steroids, right?
Yeah.
Definitely fit the bill. The TVs were bigger than my house, and the beers were expensive, but that's Texas, right?
Yeah.
That's just Texas.
Texas.
Everything's big. Everything's big. It was awesome. I don't know. I also sat next to two Cleveland Guardians fans at the game, and the Blue Jays were playing, so that was really weird. They asked for a selfie with me.
Oh, they did?
I took a selfie with them after they beat the Blue Jays 7-1.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how was I guess the entrance of like getting off? We got shuttled to the stadium, but seeing the old ballpark and the new ballpark and behind them both being the football AT&T Stadium, kind of all in just that 2-3 block difference of separation.
I mean, it's really cool. I mean, it's not every day we get to experience a sports market like that. And AT&T Stadium is just massive.
We didn't drive up close to it, but I mean, you didn't really need to. It's there. You
You're-
can't miss it.
You're standing in front of Globe Life, and it still looks bigger.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So yeah, we went to Texas Live, pretty packed. We had a couple Royal fans out there, not a lot of blue. I mean, Daniel was wearing the wrong blue, but it was blue.
Blue nonetheless.
We walked in, we did like a 2-lap tour of the first floor, showing the main attractions, the gift shop and the Whataburgers, Pluckers, all the weird
Boomstick.
The boomstick. We got a picture of Daniel, pondering if he wanted the big boomstick or not.
I mean, it was right there.
For the taking.
We went upstairs and saw like the views from the cheap seats area, and got to see the murals and artwork, and the PA announcer was doing little like hugs and saying hellos. We got hot dogs. I think that was our meal. A couple of dogs and brats, some beers. Gunnar and I had a couple mixed drinks. But yeah, we had a. I mean, the dad seemed nice that was next to you. The son was more of like an angsty teen. And,
He sat behind his dad because he just wanted his own space.
well, can you blame him? You squirted some hot dog juice on him.
Well, not my fault that Texas dogs are juicy.
No, but we saw the presentation, the introductions, and everybody cheering and all that. I've never heard someone scream louder when Bobby Witt's name was announced from Mr. Owner Sneed, thinking, "Oh man, this is the future of my baseball team."
What a day I get to have.
I mean, he's been raking. Little did we know, as the game went on, inning by inning, and every time Bobby came up to bat, it was just start out, pop out, strike out. The hopes and spirits were kind of low towards the end of the game. Not for me. I mean, my Rangers won.
Yeah, Bobby Witt did his best Corey Seager impersonation yesterday.
Yeah, Corey's old though. He's getting up there in age at 30. But I got to see Evaldi pitch an almost perfect game through 3 innings. But it was more of Evaldi was having a perfect game. He's come close, throwing a lot of strikes, a lot of balls. And then he gives up a home run to the 9-spot hitter, about 3 rows in front of us, and hits a lady, in the face, chest, apparently on her phone.
It was the one lady not paying attention to the game, and everyone else around her is like reaching up trying to get it, and the one person not caring gets hit.
Yeah, it's usually the people that don't care that get the baseball. And when she catches it, she's kind of just standing around not knowing what to do, and all the fans, including myself, are screaming at her, "Throw it back." So she starts putting it in motion of almost throwing it back, and then of course, in the corner of her eye, she spots a little 8-year-old snot-nosed kid wearing a KC hat. I don't even think he's a fan, and gives it to him, and I was pissed. I wanted that ball thrown back.
He probably just learned how to count to 7 for Bobby Witt.
Probably doesn't know who hit the ball.
I didn't know who hit the ball.
Exactly.
They took him out the next time he was up to bat. So.
Yeah, Kansas City decided, the guy that hit the home run, I don't think he can hit anymore. I think it's all he has for the day, but I don't know. The more surprising thing that happened during the game, I think, to all of us, was Nathaniel Lowe getting a hit the first time. Because, Mr. Sneed, you had him on your team for a couple of weeks.
Probably 3 or 4 weeks, yeah.
Thinking, okay, we have a silver slugger. We got a guy that was on the World Series team coming off of an injury. And what happened?
Yeah, silly me thinking a silver slugger would continue that into beyond a year. But he was injured to start the year, so no one had him because we're in a shallow league. You don't need to stash somebody like that. But held on to him for 3 weeks or so, and he just kept striking out
and not hitting the baseball,
not hitting it. And as fun as that is, it doesn't win you games. So I had to watch it. He was the last guy I expected last night to be surprised by.
Yeah, it was one of those Brad Pitt memes from Moneyball of Nate Lowe getting a hit and Gunner's looking up going, damn, that could have been on my team. But, I mean, it's only one game.
Especially after the second hit.
Yeah, the second hit that went through the gap between...
We were calling for drug tests after that.
We were like, that's not
We
the
were
thing
wondering
below.
who was out there. They forgot to announce a pinch hitter or something for Nate Lowe because he just doesn't. That's not his game.
Well, just wait. What's going to happen is Mr. Sage is going to pick him up, and then he's going to be lights out, right?
Of course, that's how it goes.
And then, Daniel,
That's
who
what
is
it is.
your dog in the fight?
Mr. Vinny Pasquantino. And he had a better game than Bobby Wood Jr., but still with 0 points.
Strikeouts will do it to you.
He finished with 0. He got a single late, but the game was already over at that point, and there was not much run support going on for the Royals. So, yeah.
Well, it also didn't help in the later innings once the starter was out. The relief pitchers they brought in were absolute garbage. It looked like they picked fans that were in Kansas City and said, "Here, go for us."
They got the 8-year-old that caught the
One lucky fan can come pitch against the Texas Rangers.
But yeah, so that happened. Heim got walked 3 times. My catcher. I wanted him to get a hit, but they kept walking. They're scared of the long ball from him, the pure power that he has. But back to the game, more away from fantasy. We saw the dot race, kind of like the Rangers mascot race. Gunnar and I were cheering for Green, and he didn't really have a motor on him. He was just kind of putting along.
It was a poor showing.
Poor showing. A lot of pushing between red and blue dot. Who ended up winning blue?
I think it was red.
Red
I
dot.
don't know. I was getting a funnel cake.
Daniel was in the middle of
Couldn't
getting
have
some
cared less
dessert.
about the dot race.
I was like, this is my time.
But we had a good singer for the national anthem, and what is it? I forgot the song in the seventh inning.
God bless America.
God bless America. It was a decent singer. I mean, you just got to say the words honestly, and the crowd will sing along.
Wow.
I hope he's not listening.
I hope he is. Anybody can do it. Literally, someone has to do it every game at home game. Would you guys have rather had the old stadium compared to this newer stadium? I mean, you only saw it from the outside, but as you guys been to other baseball stadiums, having no roof or like closed, it feels so much more bigger as a baseball field than it is when it's closed off into a arena or stadium.
Yeah, I actually, Gunnar and I both, we were in Miami. We went to a Marlins game, and it was also closed. And I have to be honest, as beautiful as the old stadium is, I'm thankful that in summer I don't have to experience 95 degrees. It puts a little bit of a damper on the experience. But I'm sure it would have been really cool to be into the old stadium. So it's one of those things, I missed it, but I'm thankful I was in the barn. Is that what you guys call it?
The
The good old barn.
Gunnar, how do you feel about?
Definitely not gonna knock air conditioning when I could have it.
It was, it's a good improvement. But the other way to look at it is, should every baseball team have a closed stadium just to get away from weather, or is the weather part of the game?
It's part of the game. There's places that are a lot more like mild, like tempered, like at least in like terms of weather. Like it'll get hot in Atlanta, sure, and it might be humid, but it's very rare that it's ever like 95 plus unless we're in the middle of a heat wave. Whereas Houston and Dallas has to deal with that
Every month.
Yeah, all summer.
Yeah, you basically got the polar opposites. You have, Miami, Houston, Texas, and then you got Milwaukee and Toronto, which come October, you got to watch out for snow.
Yeah.
And so I get that, but yeah, the almost everywhere else, especially the night games, it's just, the weather's a lot different in most places. Not everywhere can be Texas.
No, they can't. So the game ends. It wasn't really much of a game once the relievers came in. It was Rangers put up a 5-spot in the seventh inning, sixth inning, and it was just kind of downhill from there. You guys got to see Jose Leclerc, World Series closer, and then Kirby Yates close the game out. The crowd getting out. How do you feel about kind of that situation? Just getting out of the stadium, traffic, people wise. Do you think it was quicker than most? I mean, compared to other MLB games that you've attended, it's just kind of just comparing stadium to stadium.
I mean, since it's in Arlington, it almost feels like that's like the purpose of that area. Whereas if you get stuck at Nashville's the one I know the best. For example, everyone, you're still downtown in Nashville, so walking out, there's still crowds of people. You have to go through Broadway basically to get to, which is just the entertainment district, just to get back. So there's just crowds going every direction. And here it was just, everyone going one way back to the parking lots.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's definitely, it was a one-way road, basically, is what we were on. So it was pretty smooth. I would say the traffic is what I expected, everyone trying to go the same direction. But I thought we got out of the stadium pretty fast. I know we were on the first level, so that probably...
we were 7 rows up from Adolis Garcia.
Yeah, and his guns.
The big man on steroids. But would you guys be more willing to come back now that you kind of had that experience to see another baseball team here in Texas? Let's say if Toronto comes down, because I don't know how close Toronto is to Nashville, but I feel like Dallas is a little closer than Toronto is. So if the Blue Jays come to town, because the American League, would you be more willing to come down, or Milwaukee whenever they do? Whenever you have that chance, would you come down again to watch them?
I
Actually, Milwaukee will be here in like 2 days.
Gunner wants to extend the trip.
I wish I could stay.
No, Toronto is a little bit away. So it's all like last year I saw Toronto once, and it was when we drove to Cincinnati. So Cincinnati and Atlanta, just because it's 4-hour trips, those are the go-tos. But yeah, that's probably not going to hopefully be my last experience at the barn.
So Daniel, you told us during the game that you are also going to other baseball stadiums in the future here pretty soon, next month. Does this experience change your expectations for the other stadiums, or you come to each stadium with okay, this is a new stadium, there's really no expectations?
Yeah, funny you say that. This was the first time I had certain expectations, actually, because I had never experienced an enclosed baseball stadium until Miami.
Right.
And so I think, half of what makes something like PNC great is the backdrop.
Right.
When it's enclosed, the stadium and everything inside it has to be a little more well done. And so I was really intrigued to see how it compared to Miami, and I thought it was a lot better than Miami.
I would hope so. It's pretty new.
Yeah,
It's a lot bigger. Miami does have that like glass side built. Like,
Miami's was really cool, so it doesn't even have to be a knock in Miami, but you could tell there was effort put into these stadiums, and so it was a cool experience. But so I don't think it's gonna affect my view for the two I'm gonna see in July. But it definitely was comparing it to Miami as soon as I walked in.
So I had one question that I forgot to ask y'all yesterday. Did y'all happen to see the banner for the World Series when you were at the game?
No, was it up in the rafters?
Mm-hmm.
I did.
I did. I liked that it was white, right? Everything else was blue and red, and then they just had the white of the World Series.
There's big controversy because for Texas fans, for being our first, it's pretty bland, small, not really well done. We were expecting like in the AAC that you guys saw, the Mavericks have a big old banner that says NBA World Champs, and then the Stars have the Stanley Cup like picture on their banner and saying the year and all that. And ours is like Texas World Series, and the font's like it was the size of a coffee table up in the rafters.
It was the same size as your division winners.
So there's really no difference other than it's white, and if you look closely, it says World Series.
So is it like, so I don't know, obviously, because I'm still newer. Do other stadiums, are they the same size banners, or was that just a Texas?
It's like a little bigger, but you can clearly tell which is a divisional conference and the big one.
Yeah. I only knew because of the color.
Yeah.
At least they changed the color.
But it was basically where we're sitting in right field. It was directly above us.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I don't blame you for not seeing it. I don't know if you when we went up to the second, third row sections, when we looked out, if you saw it or not. But yeah, that was the game. It was nice and cool inside, nice and warm outside. We did Texas Live, pretty loud. They did little fun games for the Chile and whoever else was playing. I forget. The Peruvian folk. They even showed the Stanley Cup outside while people were swimming. It was pretty funny watching hockey in a swimming pool. But into our fantasy matchup, we have myself and Daniel facing each other, and it's pretty close. As of today, we're 1 point apart.
1 point.
If those owners who pay closer attention to points, I'm more of a Saturday type of team. That's where I drop most of my points compared to the week. And Daniel this morning was like, "Oh, Johnathan, you seem to have very favorable matchups for your pitchers coming up." And I'm just like, well, 2 of them have been less than average. The man I got rid of Vlad for, Hicks, has been very disappointing since the trade.
So is Vlad, don't worry.
Hey, that's the singles maniac you're talking about.
And then we have Eflin and I forget the last guy who's pitching, Miller, I think, against some average teams. Sorry, we have the other gremlin in the household. But Gunner, we have you and Daniel breaking pitching records, but in the negatives, not in the positives.
Jake was also involved in that.
Jake
he
was
got in
also
there.
involved.
The top three.
Little did we
The big
think
three.
of pitchers breaking records in a single week compared to like taking weeks. So we had who was it? Imanaga
Mhm.
with minus 22?
22. Negative 22. I'll never forget it.
22.
Well, we started the week with John Gray going negative 20.
We had Gunner's favorite pitcher, John Gray. Yeah, I feel like he's going to pick him back up, go for a negative 20. The text during that was, why are you putting him back in after that horrible inning he just had? And what happened? They just continued to hit off of John Gray. So, Gunner, after that performance, are you wary of picking up pitchers now from the free, like the waiver wire?
I mean, he wasn't even a waiver wire pickup. He was part of a trade made with Jake earlier, and he had put up nothing but solid numbers. Nothing like to blow you away, but he was buying away the Rangers' like best pitcher this year due to injuries. And he comes into a home matchup against the Mets, who, if I would have known Grimace had pitched before that, I would have changed my mind completely on starting Gray.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. I was unaware and immediately allowed 9 runs. Maybe got 3 or 4 innings of work and was done. So he finished the game with negative 18 and a loss to put him at 20. And I thought, well, I just beat Tosh Bradley's negative 19.
There's no way anybody's going to beat me.
And my other 2 pitchers also put up negative 15 combined on that day. So I was sitting at negative 35 points in pitching after Monday.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm in trouble.
Well, now we're at the weekend. You lead by damn near 100 points now. Tyler's team not really producing. That's who you're facing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Tyler's team not producing. I don't know what he's doing over there. I don't know if he's done any trades, any talks. He kind of just picks up people that Daniel recommends and throws them in there and see if it sticks.
Yeah, the Aaron Judge. It's basically the Aaron Judge show, and then he relies on that pitching, and his closers have probably done him some good damage this week too.
Yeah, he just had the Yankees guy Rodon get worked by Atlanta. That helped me out a little bit.
And so John Gray breaks the original record, and then Jake's pitcher,
Yes,
I don't know who it was,
Luis Hill,
pitching against
the Orioles.
the Yankees pitcher. We
Yeah,
saw that
we
live on the telly. Minus 21 on the day.
Yep, my record was alive for like 2 days.
2 days. And then the next day, Mr. Owner Stewart, would you like to elaborate on what happened that day?
Yeah, it was a day just like any other. I woke up, we were wanting to get some breakfast and go do some exploring in the city.
Just had a good day planned.
Yeah, I just thought I'm in Texas. I'm with my good friends, and I'm gonna have a good time. And Imanaga decided that Daniel, you are gonna have a horrible day.
And who was Imanaga facing?
The fucking Mets.
The Mets have been ruining coaches' lives.
I don't know.
What's going on?
I don't know what Grimace did, but the Mets are a different animal now, and let's put it negative 22. It was pretty rough, and I remember vividly last week when Tosh Bradley got negative 19. I was like, that is insane. And then
How was that possible?
How was that possible? And then 2 people beat it within 2 weeks. But all good things must come back to its rightful owner. And so that is unfortunately a record that I do not want to keep. But yeah, Imanaga, and he had a sub-2 ERA going into this game. He heard me talking about making him one of my 4 keepers, and he said, "Are you sure?"
I don't want to be here.
I want to make the decision too easy.
So, do you think that your negative 22 record is going to stand until the end of the season?
I hope not.
I mean, that's a feat to beat.
It's you know what
we thought negative 21 was bad.
Who's playing the Mets next? That's the question. You thought it would be the Yankees or Orioles that did it, and both of them have done some damage to other teams. But the Mets are just a different animal right now. So anyone listening, if you're pitching against the Mets,
Chicago. If you have a Chicago pitcher,
I would miss today.
I'm sorry, Tyler. You may break the record today.
it's going to go from one Stewart to another.
It stays in the family, but it's gonna happen again. So we had that pitching stuff go on, and yeah, it was a hilarious day for me just watching the sadness go from one owner to the next, happening in real time, and laughing, pointing all jokes. But I mean, it's baseball. What can you do? You give up 9 runs in a third inning. But on the other good news about your team, Daniel, you had a trade before the month of June for a man named Schwarber. Kyle, first name, right?
I think it's June Schwarber.
June Schwarber. Yeah, you traded him, giving up a 17th round in Manny Machado. So not. See, at the time,
and Yandy Diaz. I did give up Yandy Diaz.
At the time, it made sense. I mean, there wasn't really anything crazy about that trade, other than the draft pick. I would have liked to keep it if I was you, but that's just me. I had like 30. Did you think he would be above 50 points in the month at the end of June, coming towards the end of June?
No. In fact, when we were doing the draft, I had a whole sheet I had prepared for myself of, certain players I wanted to target. I also had a little list of do not pick up. And Kyle Schwarber was like second on that list. And, but something about that Phillies team, he just kept going and going and going. And I was like, I need better outfield. So I took a risk with some picks in infield, and I was like, bring on Schwarber. And I didn't know that June Schwarber was a thing.
None of us. Well, I did, because I tried for about 2 weeks to get Jake to give me Schwarber for less than what you gave him for, and he was not having it. He wanted anything and everything that I had on my team, and I was not ready to risk it all for just one guy. And little did I know, June Schwarber would probably be worth what I could have given up for him earlier before you did. So it's kind of like a loss on me, but at the same time a win, because I didn't give up anything. I didn't lose anything. I mean, the matchup we have right now is close, but
yeah,
my guys are. It's a Saturday. It's a Saturday, so I'm expecting Boomstick, Horny, and Brady's, and all Seager to start, hitting the baseball compared to yesterday. But yeah, Imanaga on your team, is he staying or is he going?
Oh, he's still staying. I was talking in the car. Even the best pitchers are gonna have bad games, except for Ranger Suarez.
We'll get that. We'll get that.
Yeah. He's good. We'll see. But no, he's still a monster on the mound, and maybe he's just wasting away as a Cub. But that's just me.
He's facing the Mets. Oh no,
not anymore. He did his time. Now, if he ever plays the Mets again, he will be sitting on the bench.
If you ever have a pitcher playing the Mets, then you're gonna put him on the bench.
Yes, until I see the Grimace-inspired team come back to earth.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, they've only lost one game
to the Rangers.
Yeah, what about the other two?
Okay,
we can move on.
It's hard to beat Grimace, all right?
That is
not
true.
Everybody can do it.
Be happy you got one.
Got one in the Grimace era. What is your? I know we're still kind of in it, but what your prediction after this weekend between our matchup? What do you think?
The
end score is going to be, or
I think my offense. I'll knock on wood and try not to knock the mic over. I like to think that my offense has been carrying my team lately, especially with Imanaga down, and we're still within a point. That's because of Schwarber and company. I think it's going to be a shootout. We are both Well, we're pushing 300, and we still have the big boy weekend. So
Yeah, I wonder if what the highest score matchup is combined by both teams. I didn't look it up.
I would have to think it's the Jonas and I game when we both had 16 pitchers.
Yeah, when Jonas.
Oh, when there wasn't regulation on the pitching.
Yeah, when Jonas had like 440 and Daniel put up like 360.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, we're getting close. We're both at what,
we're like at
200?
260 something, I think.
I mean, if we have a good weekend, we could get close on having those restrictions put on us.
Obviously, we both have a bunch of pitchers this weekend.
Daniel has 3 pitchers left, and Johnathan has 4.
There you go.
I have 4 pitchers left?
Yeah,
I thought I had like 6.
2 of them are CF.
Well, you have a million relievers going.
I mean, that's the payoff I did. I gave up a lot of pitchers for picks, and I'm like, let me try to see, testing out for the next year on the relief pitching to see if I just want like 2 starters instead of a team, entire team of it. I'm doing like half starters, half relievers at this point. I have like 5 starters that I'm keeping, and the rest I'm switching out of starters, seeing like favorable matchups and seeing people that are getting called up or given the chance. I'm like, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm in 7th place. It's not looking good when everybody's, like you said, having a slugfest against me every time I try to match up or have a good week. So I'm just testing out the waters and seeing what sticks and what's not. I've seen it in action every morning. You see 3 pitchers drop, and Jonathan's got another 3 pitchers ready to go that you've never heard of. I mean, you probably have, but you're like, why is he picking them up? And then he'll put up 5 points. I'm like, okay, good. Whoa, we got 5 points off a reliever.
It adds up. It adds up.
I mean, these are free points that some people just don't pick up. I'm like, oh, I'll take them up. Well, I can't. It's just knowing the rotation is what sucks. But for Gunner, your team, we talked about John Gray.
Did.
That performance happened, and unlike Daniel, you dropped him immediately.
Well, I dropped him mid-game.
That's even worse. He lost his job while he was on the job.
Yeah, I don't know when exactly he got the call during that.
But you made the call. I'm saying, yeah, you're no longer.
Well, I did. He's not. I'm not going to put him on the same level as Imanaga. I'm not as connected to him, committed to or thinking about having him as a keeper. He was part of a trade piece. He wasn't even the main part of a trade. It was more of a trade involving Stephen Kwan with Jake. Thank you, Jake. But he got me back because he was texting me that he realizes he kind of lost out on the Stephen Kwan part, but he clearly sent me like a bomb as well with John Gray, who was injured, sat on my IL for 3 weeks, came back, put up negative 20 points, and then was off my team. So a little bit of revenge there. It might have evened out for us, especially since the pitcher I sent to Jake is Reynaldo Lopez, who is having a career year from Atlanta.
Yeah. But your pitching has been up, but now seems to be cooling off, including Mr., as we were speaking of, Ranger Suarez. Kind of cooling off, coming back down to earth in these past couple weeks. He's been perfect. Not a negative day yet. Not a single digit day yet.
I haven't even seen him struggle.
Us considering him not really struggling, cooling off as in he's not having 20-point games anymore.
Oh, darn.
He's having, this week he's only giving you 14 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Tough world.
Tough world from a guy who had a negative 22 pitch. You also had a negative, but your best pitcher this week is
that was Tanner Bibby.
Was it Bibby?
It was.
Yeah, monster game.
He's still the top performing pitcher this week in general.
See, I was seeing Peralta because he's right behind Bibby.
He had a good day finally.
But I'm looking through the week of the points right now. You've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pitchers, including relief. But 14 pitchers. That's a lot of. Not really any relievers, honestly.
There's 3 in there.
3 relieves.
Are you going to hit the cap today?
No, I'm only at 10 starts, and I was going to hit it because I had Scherzer and Luzardo scheduled to start, but both of them are out.
That's what I meant to say. Scherzer getting the call of saying, "Oh, hey, we're not pitching you today on this Saturday." Disappointment, or you're like, okay, well, he wants to risk his arm a little more, so I'll keep him on the IL.
I mean, he'll be back at some point. There's still no starters announced for tomorrow or Monday.
Are you expecting a big performance out of him, or
I mean,
no expectations?
a decent one would be nice, but since he's playing Milwaukee, I don't, nothing crazy, or maybe like a no-hitter through like 7 and head off, and then we start, going to town.
Yeah, so Rangers cooling off. Is there a talk that's going to be happen, or are you just going to leave him be and hopefully he gets back to ramping it up again?
No, there's nothing to worry about there. That's just positive regression. That's a player who he's already playing beyond what he's ever proved he's capable of. So
Cy Young finalist.
I mean, you could give it to him.
Pitcher of the year.
Right? You guys are so funny.
Truthful.
He is the Cy Young candidate.
He is. But so is like the Phillies' entire rotation at this point.
Yeah, because you have Nola, right, Silva?
Yeah, but he is nowhere close to what Rangers been
I don't think anyone is.
doing. I mean, it's true.
Stop.
Nola, if you told me, hey, do you want Aaron Nola or Ranger Suarez? I'm going to say fucking Ranger Suarez because Nola's had bad games.
Well,
Ranger has not had a bad game.
I'm just holding my hand on this board.
We won't let go.
But what's really been surprising me, we were talking about June Schwarber. How about June Royce Lewis?
What about Royce Lewis in general?
60 points in June. That's what I saw.
That's more than Schwarber and Ohtani, right? Ohtani's
Yeah.
at like 50.
Royce Lewis popping off in the month of June, the dog days of baseball for you. What was the turnaround? What was the talk you gave to the guy?
Well, Royce Lewis has always shown incredible talent. This is a number 1 overall pick you're talking about. Look at other guys. Paul Skeens is number 1 overall pick, and look what he's doing. Like, this is just what is expected of these guys. Opening day, he had a home run, had a triple. He had like 7 points on the day. He was rounding the bases, ruptured his quad, is out for 2 months, and comes back completely out of this world and is still doing everything with that. I mean, since coming back, he's got 9 home runs in 15 games. So on the season, 10 home runs in 16 games. 14 RBI. He's struck out 11 times. He is slugging at a 930 right now. He's obviously going to come back down to earth. But
Hopefully,
I'm
not
enjoying the
anytime
ride
soon.
while we're there.
Right. So it was more of you think Mr. Kwan, the other rock on your team, kind of talked to him once, and you had kind of an injury happen. One of your top guys, Tatis,
Oh, yeah, he
kind of went down.
took a pitch last night to the tricep.
Took a pitch. Is there a concern there, or is it?
I'm still waiting to hear on it. He's got a later game tonight, so we're not going to have any news until then. But, I mean, he played 2 more innings before he eventually left the game. He didn't come back up to bat, but I think when it was his turn, he got pinch hit for.
Right.
But they did call it a triceps contusion, so if that actually is it, that's nothing.
It's a bruise.
Nothing
He'll be okay.
scary, yeah.
Maybe he'll rest a game or just DH.
But you're sitting at the top of your conference, first place.
Of that East division, yeah, the East is scary, I'll tell you what.
How are you feeling after, losing so many star players at the beginning of the year? And now you look and you're like, holy shit, I'm pretty comfortable in the lead.
I'm honestly just lucky to be here. I don't deserve to be anywhere close to a positive record after losing an entire pitching core to injuries, just about. Even the players that weren't starting for me at my injury stashes were all ended up being out for the year. So I think I have 3 of my original pitchers that I drafted. So just having to turn that around and have an entire core of free agents and one trade piece. Every day is a blessing. I'll just say it. I'm also part of the shuffle of the relievers. I'm not as in it as you are, but I'm always looking at relievers and always picking up a new starter every day because I also have just 4 spots of nothing.
I mean, you two are the only teams over 4,000 fantasy points on the year. So, like, you're the first 2 to crack it. Both in the same Eastern side. Daniel, is there hope to stay where you are, or do you want that first place seed?
I think we're going to be gunning it out to the end. I think we have both bolstered our lineups in June. I think he's got Lewis back. He's got Quan back. I've gotten June Schwarber, but also Austin Riley's been heating up. And I did get Mr. Cy Young winning Garrett Cole back. Now, I did lose Mookie Betts, and that really hurts. But we carry on. We are not a one-trick pony team. And I think you're looking at. Sorry, Adam. I think we're the best two teams here. I do. I really do.
That's very bold words coming from you, but 1 point behind last place team over here. But I mean, Gunnar was talking to me earlier, a couple of days ago, saying it's my team is the weirdest last place team in the league. Because if you look, I have more points than the two teams above me in my division, but yet I only have 4 wins compared to their 6 and 5. So it's been a tough outlook for me.
You're much better than your record shows.
I put up a fight, but I haven't found what it is to put me over the edge to finish well at the end of the week. I've told them I'm more of a weekend team, but I need to find something that keeps me close throughout the week, so I'm not trying to come back from 200-point deficit, 150-point deficit, because I'll have my 100-point game on Saturday. I was like, all right, I need 60 more points to go. So I just need to find the sweet spot that you guys clearly have. I mean, you have guys that are raking every day. They just alternate.
I wouldn't say every day.
No, I would say every day.
I do hold the record for the worst 2-day stretch.
I mean,
coming
60
into
points in June and 50-plus points in June is pretty nice from one player.
Coming into Wednesday, I had negative 15 points after 2 days.
And yet here you are comfortably in the lead, really not sweating it out like Daniel are today. But in other news, after we'll see at the end of the weekend what happens. A lot could happen today and tomorrow. But the more pressing concern, I think, for everybody in the league is this the end for ground rule trouble? We haven't heard any news in like a month now.
It's heartbreaking if it is.
We've heard rumors of dates and episodes coming out. I feel like every owner has had a comment about it, and it's basically MIA. We don't know what's happening, what's going on. Do you think it's ever going to come back?
I have just this sickening feeling inside me. It makes me want to throw up. I think it might be over. I mean,
we pay our dues. We do our jobs. All right.
My players work hard, okay?
The players work hard. And all we want is to see, oh man, I had a pitcher of the week. Love it. Oh, you guys had hitters of the week.
Yeah, I have June Schwarber is never going to get the recognition.
Seeing who would have gotten bum of the week after these pitching performances.
All in 1 week.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably would have been more than one. But we'll never know.
I mean, Jonas, if you're out there, I just hope you'll ask for help if that's what you need. Because we're here.
We would gladly put in the time to make this project stay alive.
You never gave your thought. Is it over, or do you think there's still a glimmer of hope?
I think there's still a chance.
Still a chance.
I mean, we've seen what he's capable of.
I mean, they've all been hilarious and perfect.
Yes.
It's gold content. It's immaculate. And so I think that's why it hurts. Because it's so good.
I mean, even the Sage household, the Sage Senior is fiending for a new episode. He's mostly, other than myself, been the one asking when's the new episode. I mean, I wonder if something behind closed doors between the Sage families happening.
I mean, they are having a knockdown drag out this week.
Yeah,
I'm sure tensions are high.
Going into the weekend, what's their game looking like? It was pretty close yesterday.
Find out, because during the week, Junior was in the lead. But let's see here.
Adam is winning by 4 points, 168 to 164. And Adam
sub 200 coming into the weekend. Very rare for these two teams. But it is a household matchup. So I wonder if this past couple weeks of no ground rule trouble coming up to this matchup had anything to do with it. A little trash talk, maybe deals happening that we don't know about.
Adam has 6 pitchers that are going to play this weekend.
Oh my goodness.
So it is his to lose.
Well, thank you guys for coming into the great state of Texas and the city of Arlington. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Any last remarks, thoughts?
I mean, thanks for having us. It's been a pleasure and an honor, really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been so fun being here. We got blessed with your mom's amazing cooking this morning, and it's going to be hard to leave.
Yeah, it's gonna be sad to see you go, but we'll see each other again in August.
That's right.
Luckily, it's still baseball season.
Yeah.
We'll have a lot more owners.
Celebrate the big man up here.
One of the owners are getting married. There's Sneed getting the old ball and chain. It'll be exciting. We're going to be a lot more owners are going to be in attendance. So we may have another special podcast in there, a live watching of a baseball game. We'll see. Get some input on some outsiders that don't know anything about baseball and see what they think about it. Maybe do their matchup of the week and who they think is going to win and see what happens. I don't know.
Unbiased opinion.
Unbiased, have no idea what they're talking about. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
You know what? You should for your wedding present. You should ask for the trouble.
I asked for it for my birthday present. I never got it. So I don't know. Wedding, birthday. Maybe his wedding is more important than my birthday.
Maybe we
Like
can
a
a conjoined thing.
A conjoined present. Yeah, we can only hope. We've been begging, but we'll see. But thank you guys again for joining us. Thank you, Cosmo.
He's out.
He's completely out between the two.
He's been working hard.
It's hard doing computer work. But we will see you guys on the flip flop. I think Wednesday is when I'll drop the next episode. I know it's a short turnaround, but
Right?
we'll see. I may go into the next weekend, but I'll see how I feel. Bye. That was fun.
50 minutes.
Nice.